Mr. Secretary, 1 year ago before this committee, I asked you for an update on the implementation of AG Garland's October 2021 memo to the FBI, asking them to investigate parents who are expressing concern about the education of their children in government schools, which their tax dollars are funding, as you know. And this is the same DOJ that arrests and jails peaceful pro-life protesters, that targets Catholic churches in Richmond, Virginia, near my district. You stated a year ago when I asked you about it that your staff may have received information on the implementation of the memo, but you had not personally received that. It's now been a year. Have you since received an update on the implementation of AG Garland's memo directing the FBI to investigate parents?
Thank you for the question. Are you asking me if I've received an update from...
Yes. Have you received an update on that memo on what's the status of the FBI targeting or investigating parents who express their concerns at school board meetings?
Have I received an update from my staff or from the DOJ?
Have you what kind of an update have you received? What's the status? What's your understanding of the status of the FBI efforts to investigate parents who show up at school board meetings?
There is no update of anything regarding that. There is no involvement in the NSBA letter from the Department of Education. And as a matter of fact, we strongly support engaging with families and parents, especially at the board level.
You know, the subject of that memo in October of 21 was partnership among federal, state, and local, tribal, and territorial law enforcement to address threats against school administrators, board members, teachers, and staff. It begins with, in recent months, there's been a disturbing spike in harassment, intimidation, and threats of violence against school board administrators, board members, teachers, and staff who participate in the vital work of running our nation's public schools. Was that true?
Sir, you're referencing a letter of 2 years ago.
Was that true?
Can you repeat that?
Are you aware of this big upswing in violence and intimidation and threats directed at school board members, teachers, and staff? Was that true?
I'm focusing now, sir, on making sure
No,
schools
you
are
can't
getting...
verify that or confirm that, being the Secretary of Education, that that's true.
Right now, sir, in 2023, our focus is in making sure that our school boards have enough dollars to provide the funding
So do you support,
to their schools.
Do you support AG Garland's directive targeting parents who show up and express their concerns at school board meetings?
Sir, if you have questions for the Department of Justice, I would
You are the Secretary of
ask you
Education.
to-
Do you support his memo targeting parents who show up at school board meetings to express their concern to their school board
I
staff?
have complete confidence that our Department of Justice is well
So
positioned
you don't
to...
support it, apparently. You're not saying you support that.
I believe that they're well within the right to do what they feel is necessary. My
So
focus
you
is on...
think we should turn over parents to law enforcement if they show up to school board meetings to express concern about what's happening in their kids' schools?
Thank you. Let me tell you what I feel. I feel parents are critical partners in the process of
Do you
educating
think
their
parents
children.
have primary responsibility for the education of their kids?
Absolutely.
Primary authority for the education of their kids?
Absolutely.
Okay, so when a parent shows up to a school board meeting to express concerns, do you think that the DOJ and the FBI ought to respond by targeting those parents?
Sir, I believe parents' engagement in board meetings, in school functions,
Okay,
are
so you're
critically
not saying
important.
yes, so I presume that you don't support that. Now, you as Secretary of Education, have you done anything to help protect the First Amendment rights of parents who show up and express their concerns at school board meetings without threat or fear of threat of retaliation from government or law enforcement?
Yeah,
have
we
you
have
done
the-
anything to help protect that?
Yes. Yes,
What have
we
you done to help protect that?
We communicate regularly with all stakeholders, including parents, including board officials, around the importance of engaging parents at a higher level than even before the pandemic, because I think parents know better than anyone else what the needs of their child are, and their engagement is critical.
I'm glad to hear you say that. We certainly agree that parents know best. This October 4 memo from 2.5 years ago, or a year and a half ago, is just another example of how this DOJ under AG Garland has become a politically focused, weaponized justice system. In fact, you see, in my office was recently made aware of a report that staff and associates of Loudoun County schools, gosh, they're in the national news all the time, aren't they? It's a classic textbook example of education gone awry here at the local level. But they have orchestrated a campaign of smear attacks, their school board, against and harassment and intimidation against local parents. Of course, as you probably know, they posted on Facebook threats against parents, was in a Facebook group saying things like, this is school board, lives need to be ruined beyond repair. I'm so ready to show up with guns, LOL. Do you think it's appropriate for parents, for comments like this to be directed at parents?
Parents have the right to communicate and be present at board meetings. I support parents communicating their thoughts and their displeasure.
Would you support
with
an
the board.
investigation into this what's happened in Loudoun County schools just recently. Would you support an investigation into that?
We have the Office for Civil Rights that investigates if complaints are made, and we're happy to follow up on any complaints that are
Would you
alleged.
support an investigation into this?
If a complaint toward our Office for Civil Rights was filed, I would.
Thank you very much. I
Thank
yield
you.
back, Madam Chairman.